Hello Taurus, welcome to your November 2024 reading. There is a full moon later this month on the 15th in your sign, close to Uranus and Algol, which is really a signature of some sort of an unexpected surprise breakthrough happening, something that's very illuminating, even groundbreaking, and really changes the pace overall for what has currently been not necessarily stagnant or boring, but it certainly is a little bit of a game-changing energy for the sign of Taurus. Two of Wands right here, perhaps presenting a new door to open up for you or to walk through, or a new chance or risk to take. Let's see what the tarot has to say for you, Taurus. Yeah, that's the Uranian signature with the Fool card, and it's the first card of the major arcana. I feel like there is something somewhat unknown about the limitlessness of the next steps for you. There's so much potential for Taurus at this time. There's been so much wisdom learned from Jupiter transiting your sign, which was like last year and the beginning of this year. Up until like June, and I don't know if you've fully actually applied all of that wisdom and growth to something like concrete yet. We have the Seven of Cups and the Star card. So the Star card, and I'm just going to cover up this lady, make her a little bit more modest. Not my choice. I know YouTube is a little weird about that stuff. Anyway, the Star card is also kind of like a vision for the future and hopes and dreams, and just some of you not being fully sure about what offers are on the table. And this is an energy of like you feeling like, oh, not all that glitters is gold. I bet that there's a catch and I can't quite see through the fog. And what if this is too good to be true? So there is a little bit of that. What else have we got? Judgment in reverse, very powerful. Page of Pentacles and the Four of Wands. As well as that, the Five of Wands, the Four of Swords, the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Pentacles, and we're back to that Two of Wands that we saw at the beginning of the reading. Here with this Fool card, I mean, this would tell me that maybe not yet, and maybe you're thinking like, no, I can't figure out what that would be at all, Kate. But that's probably because you're still in the sort of like imagination, sort of downloading of ideas, waiting for inspiration to really strike. But there is something just on the horizon for you, Taurus, and I believe the full moon in your sign on the 15th is probably going to shine a light on that possibility and potential for you in a way that you may not be able to rationalize quite yet. This speaks to opportunity, new beginnings, adventure, travel, and it's more of kind of like risk and gamble oriented, and kind of feeling like anything is possible. But I feel like there is a surprise in store, and there's still a twist in the tail, which makes this adventure all the more exciting. Let's get into it card by card for now. And right before that, Taurus, I'll just let you know that if this reading ends up resonating for you, I'm going to have an extended version which will go a lot deeper into these messages, and I'll link that below. I'll also link below a very recent relationship reading, I should say, that I've just uploaded, that you might be interested in as well. Okay, zipping it on the link situation, let's get into this reading. You're a bit confused about what's next or what you're capable of. This person in the Seven of Cups is looking at a whole lot of possibility, but so the signature of potential and possibility are real big themes for you at this point in your life, I think. It's just that there is possibly so much, when you're at at dinner and there's so much choice on the menu, or I don't know if you remember going to like the video store and getting your VHS, and there was just like shelves and shelves, and you're like, I don't know what to choose here. But there's a lot of good stuff on the table, and then there's a lot of like and then there's a lot of like stay away. So it's just about you kind of sifting through the potential and possibilities and options that are in front of you. Some are good, some are okay, some are probably something you want to avoid. I'm sorry about the noise outside on my street. It's getting a little chaotic out there. So you're trying to, I suppose, well, what I would say here is, I really hope that's not too distracting. They just, like, I'm in Manhattan, and they just put their, it's just like pedal to the metal, and like it's like honking nonstop at times. Anyway, the star card. What will help you see through to the truth, or what's going to be valuable? Let me just close my window 1 second. I don't know if that helped a little bit, but let's hope. The star card is going to help you get clear and define what's good for you and what's not exactly. When you think about what your values and your true ideals are. The star card is a great card for optimism and faith, but it also really tells us about untapped potential and things that we can't even imagine for ourselves at sometimes. Or sometimes it's like a lot about wish fulfillment and wishful thinking even. So is there a part of you that is still being held back by wishful thinking? And if that's the case, there might be an element of denial at the moment for you, Taurus. There is something that awaits you, but I feel like you have to surrender and let go of something that you view through rose-colored glasses. There is a lot of romanticizing and idealizing a situation, be it a path that you can take, or be it a certain relationship. I should have been covering up and making our star a little more modest for the YouTube bots. But there is something that you have been viewing through rose-colored glasses, and I think it's now time to truly weigh up if that person, place, thing, path is really deserving of the pedestal that they're placed upon, or really do they even align with your vision for the future, or do you sometimes project so potential, possibility, that's coming up. Do you think it's possible, Taurus, that sometimes you are imagining or visualizing the potential of this job or this place or this person, this relationship or path, rather than actually seeing it for what it is currently? And as it stands now, is that good enough for you? What would it feel like, Judgment card, to face this fear that is holding you back? Judgment card speaks to massive transformation, right? It speaks to when we thought all hope was lost, a lifeline emerges, and something tells us that this is not the time to shrink away from this. This is the time to grab this with both hands. Now, this is Pluto, and Pluto is in Capricorn and leaving the sign of Capricorn this month in November for the final time in our lifetime, moving towards the star card's territory of Aquarius. But before that move, Pluto will be very closely trined to this full moon in Taurus. And I just realized that the very last lunation, full moon, while Pluto is in Capricorn, is happening in Taurus. That's so cool. So it's like Pluto is sending trine as harmonious from earth sign to earth sign, some sort of courage to you, something that says like, no more of this. You know it's time to make a change on something. And I don't think that this has to be so dramatic. It just has to be a certain amount of fearlessness, a certain amount of responsible risk taking, even if that's just taking some sort of an emotional risk by crying or letting your feelings be known about something. I get that you might be holding a lot of emotion back at the moment, Taurus. Hopefully you find a safe outlet for that. I speak to you as a Taurus moon who quite often struggles like that too. But the Judgment card being in reverse tells me that it really is time now to raise the bar up, to say that you've been in denial might be a little bit of an understatement. I feel like an illusion could be a little bit more accurate, Taurus, and it's really time to see things for what they truly are. Multiple sevens in the reading, like the Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Cups, tells me that the current energy is quite challenging for Taurus. That's also a signature of the sevens is progress. It's through times of challenge and sometimes frustration that we actually progress and take dynamic action to improve our situation more than anything. The Judgment card, being the only major arcana card in this reading, is in reverse, and it's talking about some sort of a fear that hasn't really been faced yet, in terms of even I don't think this card is like suggesting like, okay, you've got to overcome this fear of heights now by taking a elevator to the top floor of a skyscraper and like this kind of immersion therapy or anything traumatic like that potentially. I think all it's saying in the reversal is, can you admit this? Can you face this to yourself? And sometimes that's scarier than anything else, right? But the illusion is on its last legs. Wishful thinking. Wishful thinking is currently standing in the way of wish fulfillment for you. The Page of Pentacles. There's an inner voice here. When we see pages, we're hearing a message like verbally. Oftentimes with the Page of Pentacles, it can come through digitally, or you see a sign, like literally you read something when you're out walking, or a billboard. Of course, it can just come through the media, or somebody who gives you some sort of facts or knowledge or information. But this kind of communication is coming through in your subconscious part of the reading. So I wonder, Taurus, does this have something to do with a subconscious voice that's trying to reach you through dreams, through repetition of like seeing synchronicities, and you're like kind of doubting, like, you know, I don't know how attuned you are to things like numeric sequences, or how it feels to hear that, you know, there's no such thing as coincidences in your world right now, that there is a message trying to reach you. And I don't really know what that message is necessarily, but I think you do. The Page of Pentacles is a voice coming from the subconscious, and it's asking for you to listen, and it's asking for you to hear, to join the dots, I think. And some of you are a little reluctant to join pretty obvious dots and see the writing that's on the wall. That's very much the Seven of Cups, you know, but I really think that the benefit of seeing the situation clearly and giving up an illusion is all that's standing in the way now. You know, the benefit of that would be all of these sevens, and actually here I have the Seven of Swords and the Five of Cups, at the Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. All of these challenges and whatever it is that's keeping you held back and stuck and like emotionally poorer or spiritually poorer than you could be and ought to be at this point. Not that it's like a judgment on that or anything like that with the Judgment card in the reverse. It's more just an observation, I think. And maybe other people are observing you a little bit, and maybe that does feel like judgment, and that doesn't feel good for everybody. Again, I'm just sort of seeing what's coming up on the cards, but what I would like to say is that seems to be what's standing between you and this next adventure, this new beginning, this limitlessness, and all of the potential that is yours for the taking and yours to really make something out of. There is a voice from within trying to alert you to something, and it keeps coming up over and over again. Conversations you have, information you're part of or you're privy to. The dots are joining, and there is no block for you intellectually, mentally, or It's nothing like that. It's not even like a block around your awareness. It's actually the Taurian digging your heels in. There's a bit of stubbornness there, I think. No shade. Taurus moon, 0 degree. Like I am a quintessential elemental Taurus, you know, so I know a thing or two about feeling stubborn. The 4 of Wands and the 5 of Wands. The recent past and the recent past, I should say, and the upcoming future. So stability and a sure thing, and you know, every year there's an annual XYZ and we celebrate this every month and every November, and we always, you know, this is a tradition of ours, be it in your family dynamic, be it at work, be it like with your friends. Okay, so there's just something that you always do, okay, and that's comforting, right? Says the Taurus moon. But the 5 of Wands is telling me that there's a shakeup, right? And this moon around the 15th of November, I think is particularly potent for Taurus because it's in your sign. And like I said, I've just realized, I'm sure I'm not the first person to realize this either, but it's the first time for me realizing this during this reading, that Pluto leaving Capricorn after being there for 16 years is going to aspect a full moon one last time in our lifetime, and it happens to be this full moon in Taurus. I mean, that has to mean something, and I feel like that means that you are about to witness your power, your potential, and maybe you take the blindfold off, okay, on some level. The 4 of Wands is great. You know, you've enjoyed the stability, you've enjoyed the comfort and the safety that this has provided. Maybe, you know, you've been living in this area or this estate, housing estate, or this apartment block, or, you know, you've been living in this neighborhood or community since you've been born, some of you, you know, or you've never left this place, and there's nothing wrong with that. You've built a life and you've laid roots, and it's been a great springboard for you in all the new experiences you've encountered throughout your life so far. You've always had this kind of sense of security or place of belonging, even if it was just very much within your own true sense of self. Taurus and Scorpio are on an axis in the zodiacal wheel. We're in Scorpio season now, hence why the full moon of Scorpio season is opposite in your sign, Taurus. Taurus and Scorpio, they really know who they are archetypally, right? So you just probably really know who you are at this point. And Taurus, some of you are saying, like, I don't really think there's much room for change there. The 5 of Wands tells me different. The 5 of Wands tells me that around this full moon, like, there's a little bit of frustration or tension, or even something bubbling under the surface that is that kind of like aspect of dynamicism. Let me think of a different word. Like like a heat or something kind of like that feels restless, and because of this you feel motivated to some of you feel motivated to fight or get angry, or is just sort of like have some confrontation, you know. Some of you do feel motivated that way. Maybe there's been a boundary crossed and you feel a little violated and you're like, I have to tell that person how I feel. That could be it. But I think it's just about making some sort of a change, maybe subtle at first, but I think that by the end of the month, the 2 of Wands, you're kind of going towards something that you knew was always a potential for you, but you needed to get real with yourself and take off the rose-colored glasses and break free of an illusion. And, you know, you might have been hoping that somebody or something was going to change. And you were like, when is this going to change? You know, when are they going to change? But maybe you've realized that the only thing you can change is yourself. The 4 of Swords is speaking to, I mean, in the midst of all this kind of like 7 energy, 7 of Pentacles, 7 of Wands, 7 of Cups, progress, magic, but also obstacles to overcome. With 3 sevens in the reading, it probably could suggest to me that like there's more than one obstacle in your life that you're trying to overcome. There's more than one area of life that seems quite challenging to you. Maybe there's multiple obstacles or challenges in one kind of storyline that you need to overcome in order to feel that sort of sense of peace or restfulness again. Fake it till you make it, baby. The highest self is saying that the 4 of Swords is here to say, rest now. Don't wait until everything is solved, every problem is ironed out, every issue is addressed. Rest before that, because chances are you're going to keep continuing not to run into issues, but to continue to see challenges in your path. Just for now, this is just a November reading, and please just take what resonates and leave the rest. The power is in your hands to rest and look after yourself so that you're not burning out, because it looks like you need all the kind of energy and not like in terms of like metaphorical fight that you can muster. The 7 of Wands. Yeah, everybody's got an opinion at the moment. This is coming through in your environment, and that's challenging for you. Everybody almost is like asking you to prove yourself, and you kind of know that this is like that sort of that like judgment. You feel like it's judgment, more like it's observation, and maybe it's, you know, maybe you are wrong about something, Taurus. Maybe you've been wrong about a person, a place, a thing, a path that you're on. And the wonderful news is that it's never too late to change. The 7 of Wands are people in your environment who inspire you to change, but not always through the most easy and soft sort of approach. There can be a bit of tough love here, or there can be a bit of like sparring energy. Either way, people in your environment are making you feel a little bit defensive, especially with what they have to say at this time. So just be aware of that, that you kind of are, it's not putting you in the best mood, right? The 7 of Pentacles here in the hopes and fears position is a really vulnerable part of your makeup this month. Of course, you know, you come across as really embodied and a very secure sense of self, which I think is true, but there is some vulnerability here. And I thought that you're having a trouble like crying or expressing yourself at the moment, so that could be the vulnerability. The other vulnerability here is this fear of failure, more or less. You know, what if this doesn't work out? What if I poured my heart and soul into tending to this and nurturing this and watering it and hoping for the best, and what if it actually doesn't end up to be what I thought it was going to be? And maybe it's a relationship, or maybe it's a path, or some sort of a company or investment, and you know, that's a chance that you have to take. And the more comfortable you get with taking chances, responsible risks of course, the more comfortable you are with failing, you know, and learning from that. It's only really a failure, A, if you don't try, and maybe B, if you learn nothing from it. That's what Judgment card says. You've got a strong sense of self, so don't be afraid of failing. There's always another opportunity waiting just around the corner. And after this full moon in Taurus, you're really going to be tapping into much greater potential. All right, Taurus, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm going to head over now and record the extended reading, which I'll link below. But if this is all you're sticking around for, please consider subscribing or leaving a comment, liking, sharing. I'd love to hear from you. Take care. Bye.